Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to episode number 47 of Let's Go Racing with David Starr. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. Coming up on today's show, we are going to remember the late Unser, who passed away just within the last several days. We'll look back and talk about his legacy. Also, we'll have our news and notes, plus our Ask David segment, as well as we are back after a week off. As always, we are presented by Whataburger. Don't forget that every Whataburger is made fresh, served hot, and prepared just like you like it. Want jalapenos and cheese on that? No problem. They've got you covered. Whataburger, proud to serve it hot and fresh 24 hours a day. David Starr joins us right now. David, appreciate the time as always. Thanks for joining us, man. This is always a special time of the year as we're a couple weeks past Thanksgiving and getting closer to Christmas, man. I hope you're having a good holiday season with you and your loved ones.
Man, I am. I love Christmas. I love the meaning of it, and I just, I've been listening to Christmas music for about before Thanksgiving was even here, and I love the Christmas music. And man, I love going to the mall. The Christmas lights, my house is lit up. My Christmas tree is shining bright. It's just a happy time of year, So. Pretty awesome, man. How about you guys? What y'all up to?
Man, just grinding away, enjoying these last few days of the year with some end of the year stuff, but it's all good on my end. Dominic Oregon of the RacingExperts.com is here as well. Dom, how about you? You're fresh off a trip to California, right?
Yeah, Felice and I took off to California. We went to go see some of her friends out in the LA area. We spent some time out in Pasadena and had a nice little weekend to recharge the batteries. Went to Universal Studios, saw the LA Philharmonic. Got to go to K1 Speed, got to get some go-kart racing in, and hey, Felice had the fastest lap time, so some natural raw talent there. I'm gonna have to pick up some lessons from her.
I guess so. And
also you're telling us that.
Hey, you know what? I am not afraid to admit defeat when it's warranted. Man, she had the fastest lap time over a second and a quarter, so like 1.4 seconds compared to my fastest lap time. So she's doing something right for somebody that hasn't raced that long.
Tyler,
sounds like she was hauling ass.
Tyler, remind me not to let Dominic drive anything we have.
Oh, yeah. That's not happening.
Yeah. So what you're saying is
the girls are whipping his tail. Shit.
Well, and to be fair, she's 70 pounds lighter than me, so I'm sure
absolutely
too, of course. But no, she has some speed there. David, when we get out to the Texas high performance driving school, I'm going to have to be a passenger, I think, in her car. She's going to have to show me how to get it done.
There you go, man. Absolutely.
Man. While you were out there, Dominic, I think this is worth bringing up too. You checked out the LA Coliseum. I was out there back in October. They've done a terrific job remodeling that place, and I can't wait to February when we get this clash there when they turn it into a racetrack.
Oh, absolutely. We got to walk the campus of it and didn't really get to go inside and see anything inside the stadium itself, but nonetheless, a really cool venue. I can't believe it. We were out there and it was 58 days till the NASCAR race, and we're much closer to that now, to that happening with the clash. It's just cool to think there's going to be a NASCAR Cup Series sanctioned exhibition race inside that stadium in February.
So, Dominic, have they started building the racetrack inside?
So I wanted to get an inside look, and I tried to do it.
Did you see any construction equipment or anything anywhere? I mean, paving equipment or?
I didn't see any of that. In fact, the day before we had gone, there was some sort of concert venue the night before. I think Kanye West was in concert. Somebody was out there, and they were doing a lot of cleanup post-concert. So maybe Post Malone and Kanye were doing something. But I mean, it was a big concert that was promoted during that Thursday night. So yeah, it was more cleanup, if anything. But I mean, it was just weird to think. We were walking up towards the stadium. I was telling Felice, it's like, wow. Like, I wonder how they're going to have the cars in here. Where are the haulers going to park? Like, that's where my mind went. Like, the logistics, where everything's going to happen and who's going to park where and how it's all going to look laid out. And just to think this is going to be the NASCAR traveling circus here in 2 months. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't believe the haulers will be parking inside. You know what I mean? Maybe like outside the Coliseum. And, you know what I mean? I don't know that for a fact. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. But I mean, to have all those haulers in there and there's not a whole lot of room inside,
The other thing too, and I mentioned I was out there back in October, guys, there's no parking at the Coliseum. I mean, I'm dead serious about this.
You're right. I can attest to that.
for the average Joe Schmo, trying to find parking at that place is awful for any type of event. Now you got NASCAR coming into town and all the stuff that it requires to get the stuff in that facility and such. I mean, I'm excited about this. Don't get me wrong, but Dominic, this is going to be a mess.
I think so. And like David, you're right. I mean, even without knowing all the details, I have heard that too, where the haulers are going to have to park on the outside. They're going to have to bring the cars in to the stadium. I'm not even sure how that's all going to work out. Maybe it's been announced already, but yeah, my mind was just racing with a bunch of questions. How's this place going to look in 2 months? Because it's going to be pretty cool, but definitely a lot of question marks.
Well, I think NASCAR probably has it all figured out and planned out, there's a lot of questions in a short, and we'll know a lot of the answers here short and sooner than later. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's just exciting. I just can't wait to watch this on television. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah, it's going to be very intriguing to see how they pull this off. And the LA Coliseum, they renovated it. It seats about 75,000 now. Comparably speaking, years ago that it was about 100,000. So it's a bit smaller than it used to be, but it's much nicer and now a multi-purpose facility of sorts. They've hosted the Olympics there a couple times. That got me thinking along those same lines. David, what's some of the coolest places you've ever raced at? Maybe non-traditional places of sorts. What comes to mind of some of the coolest places you've gotten the chance to be a part of over the years?
Man, racetracks we all know: Daytona, Talladega, Bristol, Martinsville. I mean, just all the cool racetracks. But I think one that pops in my mind is that I didn't get to race very long was Rockingham. When the Truck Series went back to Rockingham, I want to say, golly, I don't even know what year it was, 7, 8 years ago, going to Rockingham, running a race there at the Rock. Another one would be Nazareth, I can't even say it right.
Nazareth,
Pennsylvania. That racetrack was really unique. Was a really cool, unique racetrack. And another cool racetrack, and I don't even remember what they called it, but it was, it was in Kentucky, and it was just an oval. There was no straightaway. It was just a continuous oval. And the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series ran there, and that was really unique, but nothing like what's going to happen there at the LA Coliseum. That's for sure. Only thing I think that comes close to that is maybe Bristol. Racing at the Bristol Motor Speedway, because that's a heck of a stadium facility, racetrack. It's pretty awesome.
I love, Dominic, when things are unconventional. Like even Daytona, the fact that there's a lake, in the backstretch. Or you go to Indianapolis, the most famous racetrack in the world, and you got a golf course, there. We mentioned racing at the Coliseum. I mean, one day I would love to see NASCAR take to the streets, do a street Grand Prix event of some sorts. I mean, when you start to open up the creative juices, the opportunities are endless.
I agree with that. I mean, we even saw that last year with NASCAR painted up against the corner with the pandemic and 2 months out of racing. And okay, how are we going to make up races? Running midweek races. That was something out of the box. Running the Daytona road course for that they run at the 24 hours of Daytona, and running that for cup sanctioned races like they did in 2020. And this past year, when there were still restrictions in California preventing the racing to happen at Fontana. I love it. I'm with you there, Tyler. There's some creative juices that flow, and sometimes your best work comes out when you're kind of painted up against the corner and your back's against the wall.
And along those same lines, we got some news that the Nashville Fairgrounds, where racing went on several years ago, we saw SRX put on a good show there this past year. They're going to do some major renovation work, and then eventually it looks like they're on track to get cup racing. David, that's kind of like a new and old school thing. We don't go to fairgrounds for racing, but we haven't in a long time, been where a fair would be at, but here we are. You're going to have the NASCAR race right in the middle of the Nashville Fairgrounds, that fair going on. I mean, kind of makes me think of, that OU and Texas football game that goes on at Cotton Bowl during the Texas State Fair each year.
Yeah, no doubt about it, because I'm always there on that day at the fair. It's pretty awesome, man. And but the Nashville Fairgrounds, man, you talking about rich racing history right there. Lots of racing history. You think about, Richard Petty, Bobby Allison, Buddy Baker, all of our superstars of NASCAR have run there. They've had cup races there, NASCAR truck races there, Xfinity races, just all types of good short track racing. But man, you talking about rich in history, and Sterling Marlin, the late great Bobby Hamilton, senior, the country singer that used to race in the late 60s, early 70s.
Marty Robbins?
Marty Robbins. There's just so much racing history at the Nashville Fairgrounds, and to have them, and I know Sterling Marlin, I think last year raced super late models there, still been racing there. I know they have a local race every weekend at the Nashville Fairgrounds, but it's an awesome facility, and to see the city get behind it with NASCAR and going to renovate it and bring it up to standards of a cup type of a racetrack. I'm so excited. And 30 minutes from there is the Nashville Super Speedway, which is an awesome racetrack as well. So pretty cool to see them kind of bring some old school type racetrack and bring it to current school. You know what I mean? And that's pretty awesome. One of the things you had mentioned earlier, Tyler, was the Daytona National Speedway. How unique it is to have a Lake Lloyd, have a lake in the middle of it, and I guess I wanted to ask you guys, why was there a lake there?
I'm off the top of my head, I'm not sure on the history on it. I know it's not that deep, Tyler. If I understand correctly, it's maybe 8 or 9 feet deep. It's not that deep at all, but it is a very unique feature to the Daytona National Speedway.
So Lake Lloyd, a couple of years ago, I was at the Daytona 500, and Marty Smith and Ryan McGee of ESPN, they were doing their ESPN radio show on a boat on the lake. It was one of the best radio setups I've ever seen. But as far as Lake Lloyd goes, some quick Google searching of sorts here. Lake Lloyd is a 29-acre man-made lake that has existed since the track opened in 1959. And it's hosted everything from fishing tournaments to triathlons.
The Speedway needed lots of dirt to create the banking in the corners. And so I've read this story for years, since I was a teenager, and it's been a while, but instead of bringing in dirt, buying dirt from elsewhere, they built a lake inside the Speedway, and the dirt they dug the hole for the lake is the dirt that they have your banking in the corners. And that's why Lake Lloyd was made, because they dug out the dirt to build the banking in at the Daytona National Speedway. Pretty cool, man.
Oh, absolutely. David, you're making us, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like school's in session. You're the professor.
No. It's just like racing history. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you do a quick search, what's really wild is looking at some of these photos back in the day of some cars that ended up in the lake.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I always thought that was very interesting. You know what I mean? It was intriguing to me to see a race car in Lake Lloyd, and the way it's configured and over the years has developed, and banking, embankments, and I don't think it's possible today, but early years, there were lots of race cars that ended up in Lake Lloyd, which I thought was interesting. You know what I mean?
Man, I wouldn't wish that on anybody though right now.
No, not at all. But man, yeah, not at all.
Yeah. I mean, you got these hundreds of $1,000 cars, if you end up in Lake Lloyd, that might not end too well these days.
That could be a problem.
Yeah.
Could be. David, some sad news in the racing world. Al Unser passing away. You knew Al. Tell us what comes to mind when you think about Al.
Well, man, I didn't know Al that well, but I can assure you that I was a big fan of his and the Unser family. God, such an awesome racing family. I've read all about Al Unser. I've watched him race Indy cars ever since I can remember. I mean, when I was as a kid working at my dad's automotive shop and being in his transmission room, and that, the television would be on and watching time trials there at the Indianapolis 500. Al Unser, man, he was one of the all-time greats and one of four men that have won the Indianapolis 500 4 times, and man, just what he's done in his career is amazing. And I really thought it was sad. And I don't remember if it's been a year or not been a year to lose Bobby Unser, his brother. And then, you fast forward, I guess, a year, 6 months, however long it's been since we lost Bobby Unser, and then to lose Al Unser, it was just sad, man, because ever since I've been a little boy, I've read about the Unser family. I've watched them on television, read about them, and man, they're iconic in the motorsports world in the United States of America, man. It's just and then years later, getting to know and be friends with Al Unser Jr. My heart's, man, that's tough on the whole family. But man, what a great racing family. I know Dominic is from that part of the country, New Mexico, Albuquerque, and I've never had the honor to go over to their museum. And man, I hope one of these days I get that. I get to do that. I think that would be really cool. But just it's kind of sad that Bobby Unser and Al Unser aren't with us anymore, because man, ever since I can remember, I mean, because I was 3-4 years old, loving all forms of auto racing, the Unser family, Foyt family would always been there, man. And it was sad. And I was very saddened to hear the passing of Al Unser.
Dominic, we'll get to you in just a second, but I want to run down the resume of Al Unser here. 1970 USAC national champion, 1978 Triple Crown of Ovals IndyCar champion, 2-time PPG IndyCar World Series champion, and a 4-time Indianapolis 500 champion, along with 39 career wins in Champ Car. Dominic, just terrific, the job, the career that Al Unser had. And I'm curious, with that museum there in Albuquerque and such, what does the Unser family mean to the people of New Mexico?
Well, I've been very candid with you guys too. New Mexico, when you think of New Mexico, we don't have a motorsports scene, right? We're not really known for motorsports. We're not known for a lot of drivers coming from this part of the country. Even when you look at professional sports, we don't have any major professional sports. We do have a soccer team in Albuquerque, but outside of that, no NBA, no NFL, Major League Baseball. So even the UNM athletics kind of take priority. But when motorsports does get associated with New Mexico, it's synonymous with the Unser family, Al Unser, Al Unser Jr., Al Unser III, Bobby Unser, all the Unsers, and that the racing museum out there in Albuquerque, New Mexico, 1 hour away from my hometown. It's very, very cool. They even have a street named after the Unsers on the west side of Albuquerque. But that museum, so awesome. There's race cars on the outside. There's a bunch of flags. You can tell it's like a racer's paradise when you pull up to the campus of the Unser Racing Museum and you go inside, and there's fire suits. There's merchandise, there's memorabilia, there's even an IndyCar racing simulator at last check when I was there a few years ago. So there's so much. And David Swope, who's a big friend of the show and who's filled in on Let's Go Racing before, had a really good personal relationship with the Unsers. So yeah, it's really cool to see that even though our part of the country, our state in particular, really hasn't had a lot of motorsports connections, we do have the Unser family. And that is something that I've been asked about when we've been at NASCAR tracks or NASCAR venues. Oh yeah, the Unsers are from Albuquerque. You would be correct. So it's cool that we have that connection, and it's cool that we have such racing royalty from our own backyard. And it's definitely very sad that Al is no longer with us.
Well, in the Unser family, I mean, with Al being right there and Bobby and company, I mean, we think about, when it comes to the families of NASCAR, David, the Petty or of motorsports, the Petties, the Andrettis, the Earnhardts, the Labanis, the Bushes, the Unsers are just right up there among the best of the best of those that carried on the legacy of motorsports of where it is today.
Oh man, no doubt about it. I no doubt to have two brothers who are just on top of their game in IndyCar racing. Bobby and Al, they were brothers, but like any brother combination. Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, fierce competitors, but a close knit family. And I just feel bad for Robbie Unser and Al Unser Jr. and just their whole family. I don't know them personally. I know Al Unser Jr., but I feel like Bobby and Al Unser were the rock of that iconic, legendary racing family. And it's just kind of sad that as time passes by, that you lose some of our superstars of our industry, you know what I mean? And it's just sad, but man, they did it right. That was for sure. I think Bobby Unser won 3 Indianapolis 500s, and then Al being one of 4 men ever to win the Indianapolis 500 4 times. Man, it's just, it doesn't get much bigger than that right there, but very sad day to learn about his passing. And it's kind of, when I watch IndyCar racing and when there's not a Foyt in the race or an Andretti or an Unser, something's wrong with that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like watching a NASCAR race and not having an Earnhardt or a Petty or, in the race, you know what I mean? It's kind of just weird, so.
Well, then, Dominic, with Unser, not only did he have such a great IndyCar career, 1978 IROC champion, also competed in the 1968 Daytona 500, as well as 4 other Winston Cup and Grand National races, all held on road courses, and he had a best finish of 4th twice. So this was a guy that was just a wheelman.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm curious if any of the viewers might know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there's only been 2 New Mexicans that have gotten a race in the Daytona 500, that being Al Unser and Al Unser Jr. So that's quite the racing royalty there, even on the NASCAR side. And you're right. I mean, the NASCAR stats weren't impressive. I mean, no, let me take that back. They're very impressive because there were only 5 starts and he had 3 top 10 finishes. Could have probably done a lot more had he made the transition to stock car racing and ran a lot more of the road course races over the years. But for only 5 races and 3 top 10 finishes, not bad for Al Unser, and would have been cool to see him run some more in the Cup Series or the Grand National Series back in the day. But yeah, what a great racing resume. You can go on and on about the accomplishments of Al Unser and his contributions to motorsports.
Yeah, you certainly can. David, anything else on Al before we move on? I mean, he got to run for Roger Penske and be a part of that organization. I mean, just a historic career for Al Unser, and I know that we didn't know him on a personal level, but all signs point to that he was just a good person too.
Man, I love hearing. I remember it's been years back, but Bobby Unser, his brother, I did a lot of commentating, and I love hearing that voice, man. They had a certain, what do you want to call it? Their accent was pretty awesome, but man, the Unsers, when they spoke, pretty much everybody listened, you know what I mean? It's just, it was really cool to watch them as a kid growing up, and to just to be, they've just been involved in all forms of auto racing. And I didn't know much about the Pikes Peak climb in Colorado, and years later, I heard about the Pikes Peak and the Unsers. They were just, fierce competitors on this mountain. They're racing to the top of this mountain or maybe even down the mountain. And man, one wrong move and that's it. It's over, and man, they had plenty of successes there. But man, what a cool racing family, and it was an honor to be able to watch them as a kid growing up and wanting to be like them. And it was neat, man. Andretti's, Foyt, Unser. I mean, it's just a name that's been around ever since I can remember. And just sad. It's always sad, man. It's I wish we could all live forever. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's no doubt about it. We'll get to our news and notes segment in just a moment. Just a reminder that the folks at Whataburger cook up 100% pure beef burgers 24 hours a day. You can get your burger fixed anytime, day or night at Whataburger. Proud to serve it hot and fresh 24 hours a day. Dominic, some big changes in the NASCAR Cup Series. Some new teams, new drivers being announced. Let's go ahead and run through those. The first of those involving probably the biggest name in the sport.
The biggest name in the sport, Richard Petty Motorsports, right? GMS Racing acquiring most of the team. It's going to be rebranded as Petty GMS Racing. That was announced last week, December 7th, the NASCAR Hall of Fame. So the team's going to be fielding 2 cars in 2022 with Eric Jones maintaining the 43 ride and Ty Dillon coming back to the Cup Series in a full-time effort, his first full-time Cup Series ride since 2020 in the 42 car. David, I got to say, it's really cool to see the 43 and the 42 reassociated in the Cup Series with the name Petty.
Man, no doubt about it. I don't know how far back y'all remember, but man, growing up, being such a big Richard Petty fan, how could you not be? And then when Kyle was, when he started his career on the Cup side and running the number 42 number, and I remember watching on ESPN Kyle Petty and the famous red and blue STP car and having racing against his father, Richard the King. But man, that was just always cool. And then Kyle Petty moving on to some Sabco Racing and carrying the 42 number with him. And I don't know, it's kind of cool to see the 42 number come back to be out on the Cup Series again and to be teammates with the 43 number. I'm happy for the Pettys. Over the years with the extreme cost of our industry, our sport, especially at the elite level of the NASCAR Cup Series, and especially with this new car that will as we'll all know, as a next gen car. It's just, man, we've seen some big names come in our sport, Michael Jordan, Pitbull, and to have Gallagher, Petty GMS Racing formed, and I don't even know Mr. Gallagher's first name, but I know that the Gallagher family owns Allegiant Airlines, and Allegiant Airlines is the title sponsor of the new stadium there in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. So there's some heavy hitters there, strong players there, and to see them partner up, buy out the controlling interest of Richard Petty Motorsports. It's cool to see that maybe we'll see that 43 car back into victory lane sometime soon. And even before this buyout, Eric Jones was doing a heck of a job, in that Richard Petty Motorsports car, and then to see the Dillon kid get an opportunity with GMS and now Petty GMS. I see big things from this team in 2022. So I just think it's cool. And being a big Richard Petty fan, it's cool to see him align with some heavy hitters and maybe put that 43 car back into victory lane one day.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, guys. I mean, GMS has done really well at the Truck Series level. And Richard Petty, he said, look, their truck team has more resources than our Cup team does. I mean,
is that what he said?
He said that, yes. This is going to be a major upgrade for that program to see some money, some dollars invested. And I've been a big fan of Eric Jones for a long time. I think that in the right situation, he could compete for championships. Ty Dillon, I think in the right situation, can compete for a playoff spot and be a playoff caliber driver. Have these guys get an opportunity with a team that's willing to actually throw money out there. I'm excited for these guys. This is the restart to the career that both these drivers needed and that Richard Petty and company needed. To me, it's a win-win, Dominic.
Absolutely, and they're only going to get better. We know the landscape of the Cup Series has changed since the 1990s. You have to have multi-car organizations. You have those teammates and the resources to rely on. I think you're right, Tyler. Eric Jones is staying with that team because he sees potential, and he's only going to get better. And we know Eric Jones is a Willman. He won a Truck Series title, arguably could have won the 2016 Xfinity Series title, barring a restart. So
I don't think Alex Bowman. Here's an example for you. Alex Bowman, who had a great year with Hendrick this year, 4 wins. I think Eric Jones is just as talented as Alex Bowman is.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
You put him in the right situation, maybe even Eric would have won more races than Alex did last year at Hendrick.
Oh, 100%. I mean, when you're sought after by Kyle Busch to run in a truck because you beat him at the Snowball Derby, you're clearly doing something right.
Yeah. I'm happy for Eric Jones and watch out. I mean, that team, for David, the last several years, the Cup Series has been a 4-team sport. It's been Stewart-Haas, Hendrick, Penske, and Gibbs. Now we see Kaulig get a win last year. 2311 got a win last year. Front Row got a win in the Daytona 500 last year. We're seeing, Petty GMS is coming along here. Watch out. I mean, we're finally going to see the parity that the sport has been needing for a long time.
Yeah, I think what little I know about the new next gen race car, it's really gonna bring the competition together because all the parts and pieces, everybody will have the same spindles. All the parts and pieces you got to buy from the same company. It's really going to bring the competition real close, and I think we're going to see lots of different winners. Surprising, some of those teams you just named off, Tyler, that we saw in victory lane in 2021. I think we're going to see even more winners in 2022 with this next gen race car.
Yeah, I think so. One of those teams that was able to pick up a win for the first time in 2021. They weren't even a full-time team. Now they're a full-time team with 2 charters is a Kaulig Racing, and they announced some big news this week, Dominic.
Absolutely. Kaulig Racing announced on December 14th, they are going to have their all-star car, the number 16, filled by 3 drivers in 2022. AJ Allmendinger will be back for select races alongside Daniel Hemrick and Noah Gragson. Allmendinger raced in the Cup Series full-time for a long time before scaling it to the Xfinity Series. Hemrick ran as recent as 2019 in the Cup Series. He's got 2 career top 10s in the series. Noah Gragson has yet to make a Cup Series start, but we know he's going to be attempting the Daytona 500 for the 2nd straight year with Beard Motorsports, and then after that, have these select races at Kaulig.
Now, I'll say this, David. All 3 of those guys, very talented, some of the best guys in the Xfinity Series. I'm glad for them. They're all getting an opportunity to run Cup races. But you look at it, A.J. Allmendinger won at Indy last year in the Cup level. To me, I look at it, it's a missed opportunity. I would have loved to seen A.J. be in that ride full-time all year, potentially take Kaulig to the playoff. He's got the capabilities to do it.
It's interesting. You brought up a good point there. Was how successful AJ was in Xfinity Series this year. You look at all his wins, and you look at his wins in the Cup Series. you would have thought he would have been a shoe-in, the guy that would have taken Kaulig to Cup racing as our first Cup driver. And it's surprising that it wasn't him that was announced. It was Justin Haley. And so it's kind of interesting. But man, anytime you put AJ Allmendinger in any Xfinity Cup car, he's got a shot of going to victory lane, no doubt about it.
Dominic, what do you make of the move? Do you think Kaulig went the right direction? Go do Haley full time and then split up the other three in the other car?
I think they're doing the right move there with Haley, in my opinion. And I wonder too, maybe AJ Allmendinger is content in the Xfinity Series right now. He ran in the Cup Series full time from 2007 to 2016 or 2017 actually. So maybe he is content running the Xfinity Series schedule. Maybe we could see him get back to the Cup Series full time someday. But let's say that is the scenario, and AJ didn't want to run full time in the Cup Series. I think the different drivers they have in there, we're going to see what they're going to get to do. And Noah Gragson gets a chance to show off in the Cup Series and see how good he is in Cup equipment. Daniel Hemrick kind of gets that revival second chance of some sorts in NASCAR's Elite Series too. We all know these guys want to be there at some point. What a better opportunity than how Kaulig's calling it the All-Star car, the 16.
Yeah. David, I mean, for these three drivers, I can't imagine that beyond this year, that's just a part-time car, different drivers. For these three, it's an audition to see who gets that ride full-time potentially next year.
Absolutely, man. You hit it right you hit the hammer right on the nail, man. You nailed it on that one. It is an opportunity. I mean, you're going to have great equipment. Kaulig, I mean, they only do it the right way, and they only do it one way, and that's the best of everything. And you're going to have some really great equipment there with some good funding backing behind it. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw one of these three drivers pull that number 16 Kaulig car into victory lane on the Cup side, and they are auditioning, whoever can win the most races or a race, I'm sure they're looking into their future, you know what I mean? And what an opportunity that's presented to them to be able to go after that win and try to be that driver for the future for that team.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that. And that will do it for our news and notes this week. We'll get to our Ask David segment in just a moment. But before we do that, a reminder, this program is always presented by Whataburger. Stop by Whataburger for a hearty breakfast any morning or late at night. They're serving a breakfast from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. Proud to serve it hot and fresh 24 hours a day. Whataburger. David, our first question in the inbox, it comes from Lucy. Lucy wants to know, David, what's the best Christmas present you've ever received?
Oh, man. God, there's been so many. Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I mean, I don't know if I can tell you the best present, but I could just tell you as a kid growing up and waking up Christmas morning after going to midnight mass with my mom and dad and my brothers, Johnny and Jimmy, and waking up Christmas morning and just we'd sleep with my mom and dad. There'd be three boys and my mom and dad in bed, and man, couldn't wait to see what Santa Claus brought us. One of the biggest things that I've always loved receiving from Santa Claus was a three-wheeler. I thought, man, we lived in a cul-de-sac, and man, I'd make a racetrack out in the cul-de-sac with that three-wheeler, and it was just, we called them big wheels back then. It was pretty awesome. But man, there's been so many presents. Winning my first NASCAR race, making it to NASCAR. Man, when you made it to NASCAR and then the season over with and the Christmas time, I'm like, man, Christmas already came for me. You know what I mean? But man, I'm more of a giver than a receiver. I love the meaning of what Christmas stands for and what it's all about. I love the beauty of the kids receiving toys from Santa Claus. It's awesome but to say can't remember the best gift ever. I mean, I just love it. They all been wonderful, and Christmas is just special to the Starr family. What about you guys, man? That's a great question for y'all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How about you, Dominic?
Man, kind of the same, Dave. There's a lot that come to mind. I think we're at the family time and the Christmas Eve traditions of going with our family to mass and going to my grandparents after, and we eat pozole and tamales and New Mexico biscochito cookies, and we're drinking coffee, and then we're gathering the next day for presents and just great family time. So that stuff always sticks out to me. I think one of the more memorable ones, I don't know if it was a favorite one, but as a 4-year-old getting the Sony PlayStation, my brother and I, we got that for Christmas one year, and we got all these cool games, Toy Story, Bugs Life, Hot Wheels Racing. And in one of those games, NASCAR 99. That's what got me hooked on NASCAR. So I have to say that's probably the most memorable one, because I'm not sure, had I not gotten that game, I don't even know if I'd be here right now.
We talked about that before. You and I were very much inspired at a young age from the NASCAR video games. I got to say, for me, my favorite probably was my drum set I got in like 6th grade. I got a drum set that we had in the living room, and I'd be banging on those drums and playing loud music and such. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but I know Dominic knows this. I'm a drummer, and so in my downtime every once in a while, get on that drum set. I play guitar and piano too, and I sing as well, but there's nothing to me like playing the drums. Just kind of let it fly and go wild. So that was probably my favorite that comes to mind, is when I got my drum set, David.
Man, Tyler, I knew you as a baller, but I never knew you as a drummer, man. That's amazing, dude. You got to go ahead and tell us all your other secret talents you have. You know what I mean? Man, that's pretty awesome, man. I think every little boy's dreams to grow up and be able to play electric guitar or be a drummer or some sort. That's pretty awesome, man.
Man, the ladies, they dig the athletes and the musicians. It had to be one or the other.
Yeah, there you go, man. There you go. Awesome. Oh, that's a great question right there, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, let's get to another question. This one's from Tony. Tony wants to know, David, what is your favorite memory with your kids this year?
Oh man, that's there's been a lot of them, but ones that come to mind, DJ, my 12-year-old son, going, making the A team as a 7th grader. They got A, B, and C teams because they got a lot of athletes, and him coming home and me getting home and him saying, Dad, I made the A team. I'm like, dude, that's awesome, and going to his first game and watching him score 2 touchdowns as a running back was pretty exciting moments for Dad here. And then heck, it was just a couple of weeks ago taking my youngest boy Vance to Cam Raceway and watching him get in his little sprint car go-kart. And man, he's been chomping at a bit he's been waiting on Dad to take him racing, and I've been so busy that we finally got to go to the dirt track and just practice and test. And man, he was pretty much wide open from the start, man. I was so nervous, and those were pretty special. There are a lot of special moments, but those two ring out, when you ask the question, that really come to mind.
Dominic, we don't have kids, but you're around your nephews and that bunch quite a bit, aren't you?
Yeah, I have an 11-year-old cousin. He's my first cousin, and sometimes people think he's even my son when we go out and go do stuff in public. Oh, is that your son? No, Anthony's my cousin. So, hey, Anthony, I know you're listening. So, yeah, buddy, I appreciate you listening in. And yeah, we've had a lot of good memories. I think, this year. This was last year, but we had a lot of fun over the pandemic. My brother came back to town, and we spent a lot of great quality family time just as the pandemic was rolling through. And over the summer last year, we got to go to the park a lot. We really got to teach him how to throw a football, how to catch a football, how to run, how to hold it, all the dynamics of playing football. So that has to go down as one of the best memories. We didn't get to do that too much this year, but a lot of fun to teach kids how to play football and in sports. And I got him a go-kart a few years ago, and like being able to see him wheel that and learn how to use the gas and the brakes, definitely some proud moments with that.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. We've gotten to know David's kids too. You know, we took her out to the go-kart track a couple times.
And we're doing that again, I believe, in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get David out there too.
I know y'all did. One time I gave DJ my credit card. I tried to use it the next day. It was maxed out.
Oh no.
Well then.
Yeah.
But man, they love going to the go-kart track with you guys, man. That was they're pretty proud of those moments, and they talk about it a lot. You know,
well, we'll have to make some more of those memories in 2 weeks, but I think we're going to be talking a different story. I think we're going to be hearing about how Felice beat all of us on the go-kart track.
there you go, man. There you go.
We'll see how she does against David. You know, take David down. You know.
I don't want. I'll just play my go-kart run. I can't have her embarrass me. You know. Hey.
No, guys, that will do it for this week here on Let's Go Racing. In a couple weeks, we're actually going to do a live show. We'll be together in Dallas just right after Christmas, and that will be our Christmas special of some sorts. It'll be me, David, Dominic. I think Kim's going to join us. We'll have a great time. That'll be coming up here in a couple weeks from the Starr house and everything. So. What better way to spend the holidays for David than having two of his favorite friends join him in his household? So we'll be looking forward to that. And as always, subscribe to Let's Go Racing with David Starr. New episodes out each and every Wednesday on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review or don't leave us one at all. Also on YouTube, hit that like button. We certainly would appreciate it. Find us on Facebook, David Starr Podcast, Twitter @Starr Podcast, and by email, starpodcast@gmail.com is where you can find us there. A part of the Studio Soapbox Network with new shows out every day of the week, including my show, The Jones Report, and others. Check those out wherever you find podcasts. Dominic, before we go, what's going on with you the next couple of days, man?
Yeah, so just spending some time here in Grants, New Mexico. I'll be heading up to Santa Fe here in a few days to go spend time with their Felice, and just looking forward to some great family and friend time and covering the NASCAR news and notes as they pop up throughout the week. Myself, Jonathan Field, keep the team going with the racing experts.
David, how about you?
Man, just got back from Washington, D.C. last night, and busy day catching up on other stuff. Just working on 2022 and visiting with sponsors. I'll be getting on an airplane Friday morning, headed up to Reading, Pennsylvania to visit with Missy and Rich Fix with our Alarm Tech System company. Man, what a great family. Then I'll get back Sunday night to my family and still have some shopping to do and going to catch a really Broadway play next week. Just Christmas is here, man. It's upon us, and just taking it all in. Trying to take care of some NASCAR business beforehand. Tomorrow I'm working on some racing school stuff. But man, it's going to be a busy week, and man, I'm just looking forward to Christmas. I'm excited and happy, and a lot of great things are happening.
I love it. Sounds fun. Look forward to it, and we'll see you guys in person here in a couple weeks. We'll put the checkered flag out on this episode for David Starr, Dominic Gargano, I'm Tyler Jones. It's been another edition of Let's Go Racing. We'll see you next time.